Hello, friends. I'm Andrea Morris, and welcome to another edition of Spill the Wine, our podcast about wine. And today is a super amazing, extra special edition of Spill the Wine because we are doing our first episodes outside of the Niagara Bench region. We have made a little trip today to Norfolk County, and we are going to be starting off our adventure here at Front Road Cellars. Don't know why I have a hard time with that. Front Road Cellars and Blueberry Farm as well. We get two for the price of one today. I'm with Amanda Vranckx. Hello, Amanda.
Hello.
The owner and winemaker. No, you're kind of winemaker, right?
Well, I do the distillation projects, so fortified winemaker, but the heavy lifting of the winemaking goes to my husband, Nick.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Well, we got the boss lady anyway, so we're good to go.
Yeah, he's all like sweaty blueberry harvest man right now, so you wouldn't want to be tasting wine with him.
That's okay. I worked in the music industry, and I'm used to sweating.
Yeah.
So, no big deal. Anyways, Amanda and I were lucky enough to meet each other at during the Cuvée Festival in Niagara back in May. And it was just so much fun to taste your wines and talk with you and Jenny and Nick and kind of get to know a little bit about you. And it just made me want to come out here and do a podcast episode with you.
Yeah, I mean, that was the whole point of us going to Cuvée, was to spread the word, because we were the only non-Niagara winery at that event too. So it was really awesome for us to be able to connect with you at that time. And we're excited to have you here today.
Did you find that doing that event that you actually have more people coming out now, or more, have you getting people writing about you more and paying attention to you?
A little, yeah. I think some of that is just the proof is in the pudding, right? So sending wines out to follow up. But we are, it's that tourism time of the year. So getting people out to explore, I think, is great, especially since people are staycationing a little bit more right now. So we're benefiting from that for sure.
That's great. And it's also cool because most of the wines that we've been tasting over the course of the last, 28 episodes have all been Lake Ontario shores. And now we're doing Lake Erie shores for this episode. And I'm really excited to taste the difference that makes, because I know the climate is different over here as well. So we've got so much to talk about today. I'm so excited. Now, I mentioned that you also have, I might have mentioned this, you also have a blueberry farm too here on the property.
Yeah, so the winery originally started as a blueberry farm, and we were making strictly fruit wine. So the story kind of background of the farm is that Nick's parents purchased the farm in 2005. So 20-ish years now. And at that point, it was just a commercial blueberry farm. Their kind of goal with it was knowing that they had 3 young sons. And to keep family farming, that they would have to diversify. So the first kind of project of that was maintaining the blueberries themselves and getting them up to snuff, starting a PYO patch and kind of building out that project, and then starting actual retail sales of blueberries on the site, because at that point they were all getting picked and kind of shipped away. And so opening the little farm market and starting to do preserves and things. And they kind of had the fourth ahead thought to go, ooh, we should put a winery license out for this. So thankfully, my father-in-law did that before Nick was even probably legal drinking age. So it was a really great connection for us. Nick went off to school to Brock University, studied viticulture and enology there. And then after many years of kind of harvest abroad, traveling, learning about cool climate viticulture in places like Chile and Germany and New Zealand, Oregon. He's worked kind of all over. Finally settled back down here to start making wine. And the first wine we ever made was a blueberry wine, which we're going to try a little bit later, style of. So we were a fruit winery for the longest time under that Blueberry Hill banner. When we started diversifying our portfolio and started making more grape wines, that kind of name of Blueberry Hill didn't make sense for us any longer, because people would be like, what a lovely Chardonnay. Does it have blueberries in it? And you're like, oh, no. So we quickly realized once we started kind of adding cider and some grape wines to our portfolio that we needed to diversify what we were going to name the actual winery. So Front Road Cellars was born from that, was knowing that we wanted it to be a story of place And Front Road is, it's where the farm is, but it's also where our home is. It's where we spend a whole lot of time and work, live, and play here. So Front Road Cellars was the natural kind of evolution of what we were making.
I remember the first time I ever came here was when it was called Blueberry Hill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we still have tons of people who do that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the property, everything looks completely different than it did.
It's been a evolution. We bought the farm from his parents now 3 years ago, but we grew that Front Road Cellars brand, and then we're running it. And basically, it was like, okay, we've got to commit to that succession plan of what's going to happen with the farm here, and that process was labor intensive and took a few years. But when we purchased, it was like flipping a switch, right? Because now we didn't have. As much as we love our in-laws, or his parents, you still don't have, it's not yours, right? It's not yours to kind of mess around with, and you still had to run things up the chain. And then as soon as we purchased, it was like the gates were unlocked. So we could do everything fun that we've been wanting to do for years and years, and had kind of been like, oh, I don't know. And it's been a really exciting time to be here because it does feel like a rebirth a little bit.
Yeah, and because I remember that the area that you now use for weddings and the like, that was the Marquet.
Yeah, it was, and that was a little bit of COVID issues because at that time we were like, okay, this is a great little home for all our Marquet stuff and all our blueberry-based stuff. But then you had to clean 2 spaces and you had to staff 2 spaces, and all of that just kind of really didn't make sense for us any longer. So we brought all of that up to the winery to be able to kind of transition how people could interact with our products, right? So they could buy wine and preserves all in the same building, and made it really easy. And then it also freed up a ton of space, like you said, for an event space that we were lucky enough to develop as well. So it was a good problem of one of many perks of COVID for us. That was one.
Yeah, and you've also got this beautiful little Airbnb trailer right across from the wedding facility, which is genius.
Thanks.
Because anybody that's getting ready for a wedding can come in here, and it's just so warm and comfortable, and what a great place. We're recording our podcast in here today. So I'll take some photos so you can see that as well. But it's just so completely different than what it was the very first time. And I just want to say congratulations to you for really making it look modern, making this area just seem like so much more of a winery than just a blueberry farm.
Right, absolutely. That's always been our struggle, and it's something that you can only sink a certain amount of money into every year in order to keep your business on the right side of things. But making those little investments in the infrastructure, we think will continue to pay off long term. So my favorite spot on the farm is either in here, so I'll sneak away sometimes and just come down here with my laptop, or our patio, and sitting on the couch on the patio and having that unobstructed view out the back to the blueberries. And you can see the grapes, and it's a gorgeous spot to watch the sunset. And a lot of people don't get the opportunity to do that because they're visiting at 2:00. But I always encourage people to come, even if it's right before we close, but you come at 5 and we close at 6, you still get an hour of really great, pretty sunset time on the patio.
Yeah, and you can hear the bullfrogs in the pond, and it's just and enjoy your wine. And it's just such a really chill experience.
It is.
Now, when you guys took over, were the grapes already planted on the
We planted for the first year in 2011. So we didn't own the farm, but we were kind of running the shenanigans with anything wine-based. Then we replanted in 2012 and 2013. So it was a bit of a struggle. Those 2 years were really bad winters. And when you put a baby grape in the ground at that kind of time, and then it drops to minus 24, feels like minus 36, that grape doesn't have much of a chance to survive. So we experienced a lot of replanting, but we finally, I feel like, have nailed it now. So had a lot more grapes come on board in the last 2 years that we've been able to make estate-grown wines from. And our new additions are coming online for our white grapes that we planted most recently, that will make it the first harvest off this fall. So that'll be really exciting because a lot of that product is going to be in addition to what we already do. So new SKUs, new products, hopefully new fortified wine, some things that are going to be really fun.
And I know that the last time we talked, we were talking about the fact that you are introducing some really cool varietals that are new to this area.
Right. So a lot of our varieties that we grow on the farm are hybrid varieties. Some of them have just been approved to the VQA Ontario list, which was really exciting. So that development has been, I feel like probably, it feels like forever, but it's probably a year and a half. And sometimes people don't realize that VQA Ontario, while it's like an assurance, right, to a consumer that these grapes are all grown in Ontario and the quality is there, that's what VQA stands for, is that it's also a governing body and it's all in law. So they gathered all this information from, stakeholders. They put their recommendations forth to the government, and then the government had an election. So nothing got done with it for a long time. But in the last little bit, I want to say in the last month or so, they finally approved it and are moving through the channels. So things like Petit Pearl, which we grow on the farm, which is a hybrid variety developed in Minnesota originally, will now be able to be bottled and sold as a VQA Ontario wine, which is really exciting.
Is that a red or a white varietal?
It's a red variety. Yeah, we don't have to try it today just because we're between vintages. But one's coming out, fall 2025.
So I guess we'll have to come back and do another
Right?
episode with
I
you then,
know,
right?
yeah.
And taste all these crazy new varietals.
It is. It's a fun one. So some of the varieties we grow, people might be a little bit more familiar with. Like we do have Vidal planted, not a ton, but some. I feel like that hybrid has a lot of name recognition. Some are a little less familiar with, like Marquet, but that has been a VQA Ontario grape for a while. So it's interesting balancing what we're trying to do in terms of what grows well here and match that to consumer preference and create wines that we believe in and enjoy. So those three things have to all be in alignment, which is creative and scientific all at the same time.
What's your most popular wine with your consumers here?
Oh my goodness. I feel like this year since we've released it, Clink Clink has been the most popular. I feel like sparkling wine, even if you're not necessarily a huge wine lover, sparkling wine still makes you happy. Like even if you're like, oh no, I more enjoy a cooler, or I'm a beer person, whatever. If there's a bubbles just like in a glass around you, like aren't you just tempted to drink it? I feel like that I am.
I know, I'm drooling looking at these in front of us.
Right.
So
Yeah. So I think Clink Clink, the packaging's gorgeous. It's a nice white blend, so it's kind of approachable in style for a lot of people. And we serve it, quite successfully on the patio, but we have a couple licensees that carry it as well. So it's been a flagship project for us. And we're excited that people love it as much as we do.
It really has a cute label, and I hope you do T-shirts with that.
Right.
Because it's so much fun. It's kind of got this 50s kind of retro vibe to it, which I really like as well. And it's sitting here in front of me, so I'm feeling like we need to clink and drink.
Clink and drink. Yeah.
Oh, that's so refreshing.
It's lovely, and it's one of those things that Locage Blanc. So Locage Blanc is a hybrid variety we grow on the farm. One that was developed in Niagara, but found most of its fame out east in Nova Scotia. So Nova 7, Benjamin Bridge, large plantings of Locage Blanc out that way. There's a bunch of other wineries out there that I know are making really interesting and unique Locage Blanc products. But for us, when we planted it here, we were looking towards those styles to try to figure out what kind of wine we wanted to make with these grapes. So the first year we harvested this, we made 3 because we made a bubbles, we made a barrel fermented, like dry Sauvignon Blanc style, Fumé Blanc style wine. And we made a just kind of easy drinking white wine with it. So after we tasted all of those 3 styles and kind of saw what was resonating with folks, Clink Clink, that's where all that Locage Blanc is growing and going to, is towards this project, because it started as something that was like 30 cases, and now we're building and building and building up that volume. So I think it's special, but it's floral from that, and that grape dominates the blend of this. So there's a little bit of Vidal and a little bit of Riesling in here as well, but less than 5%, I think. So mostly Le Cage Blanc that you're getting. And I think that it's so fresh and crisp, and it's got this lovely citrus quality to it. And yeah, tastes like more, please.
Yeah, exactly. It does. And this is, I think, the first sparkling I've had made of Le Cage Blanc.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a cool name to say as
I
well.
know, right?
It sounds very chic.
Yes, it is very chic and different. It's funny because I feel like they pronounce it obviously different out east, where they're coming at it from much more of a Le Cage, French type of Le Cage. Yeah, very fancy. I probably am butchering the pronunciation, but that's how we describe it. So people will just have to put up with it.
Well, they'd be hard not to put up with it once they drink it, because it's a really inviting, really refreshing bubbly. Mm-hmm. Is it traditional method or?
We do Charmat. So we have found Charmat method for the wines that we're creating is the best kind of for our timeline, makes the most sense. Not to say we won't do traditional method in the future, we could. We've talked about it for the right product. But Charmat method has been good for us. It works well. The bubbles are nice. And I feel like it's light and keeps that kind of freshness. But if we did a more like a different sparkling that had more of those kind of earthy, funky, savory, buttery quality, then I'd be like, ooh, let's do traditional method. Right?
Yeah. The ones that give you that brioche kind of.
Yeah. So I feel like that is that fit for that. Stay tuned.
Again, see, we're going to have to come back and do another episode, right? And the other cool thing, listener, is that not just big bottles of Clink Clink, but they also have little
baby Clink
Clinks.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that's important for us is approachability, right? And drinkability. So this sparkling wine is crown cap closure, because I hate, I feel like I've got early onset arthritis, but I hate popping a bottle with a cork of bubbles. It stresses me out, especially when you're entertaining. And I know that that's that celebration and whatever, but you can still get that. Just pull out a saber and do it that way. So I love the crown cap closure on our 750 ml. And when we were talking about that and doing that, because it made sense because our wines are screw cap, that we were going to continue on that trend of ease of use. They were like, ooh, ease of use. This should really be in a little cutie bottle. So we did the 200 ml little baby Clink Clinks. And when we released them, we just all stood around the tasting bar, yelling at each other about how cute it was. It's so cute. Oh, it's so cute. And that's what I knew was a hit. You sound like a bridal party. Right? That's what it felt like. It felt like everyone was just this is the most precious. It was a really sweet little baby in the room, and everybody was just goo goo ga, all over it. So I knew that we had hit a chord with folks, and it's been proven to be very popular. I think that that smaller format is trending right now just because it's, easy. And I think it's great. You mentioned bridal, bachelorettes, whatever, as a little take home for people. I think it's precious. If I was a bachelorette or at a bridal party and someone was asking me to be in their wedding and they gave me one of those and a little cute card, I would be yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I would love to stand by you. It's precious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'd be then get me a bigger bottle.
Yes, also, where's my 750? It is funny because there are certainly people who come in and they're like, why on earth would I only want 200 mils? And I'm like, fair enough. Different people. Some people to be able to open and it's 200 mils is either a generous one pour or two nice size pours. So either way, it's gonna make you happy.
But they are really cute little gifts as well. And it would be nice if you were just doing a little dinner with people and you had you put that little bottle in front of their plate. It's just so cute. And they don't have to fuss with the cork.
No, you don't have to fuss with the cork. Also, I understand that it's romantic and fun. And that's what everyone always says about the corkscrew pop, right? But you know what's not romantic and fun? When your wine is corked. Mm-hmm. So you win some, you lose some.
And also when you have arthritis in your finger and you're trying to take that damn cork off and it won't come out and you're just
It wrecks the moment.
Yeah.
So crown cap, beer bottle, can opener, boom, done.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, we are off to a fabulous start with Clink Clink. So what are we moving on to next?
So this is our Bright Side off-dry Riesling. Again, we were talking about labels and fun and how we're trying to tell stories through our wine. Brightside is totally that, right?
It's so cute.
70s vibe, daisies on the front, and a true expression of like, literally, stay on the bright side, look on the bright side. And this wine felt like that, which is why we packaged it like that. Like it just has this most beautiful nose of flowers and white peach. And I love it. Like it just smells so pretty. And it's off-dry Riesling. So we're always looking for that quest of balance, right? So we want a little residual sweetness, but we also want acidity on the finish that makes you go, I want another little sippy of that, please. And I just think it would be delicious with like lemony things. Like I'm just thinking of like brie with like a marmalade or something on top, or like a lemon pound cake.
It's really, this is a really great summertime wine.
It is.
Because it's refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that little bit of sweetness to it, but it's and the color is just so light.
So very light color. It was just the Riesling grapes they gave us. That's what they gave us this year. So this Riesling was sourced from just down the road at Innisphere, which I know is going to be a future podcast guest with you. And it's nice that we have, Front Road is truly a special place because we have such great relationships with the other people that are on Front Road. And we have 3 wineries, which people don't tend to know. So there's really close by, boop, 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 right down Front Road is a great little wine trail.
It is.
There's the Greater Toast the Coast Trail that our Beverage Association puts on, but Front Road is a little microcosm of its own, and it's nice to be able to work with them. We have such great relationships with them. So Ryan and Chantal Bosgood down the road had a little bit of extra Riesling, and we were like, oh, sure, yeah, we need that. So we don't have to look outside in order to get those grapes, and it helps them out as well. And the end result is like something delicious in the glass.
And it's one of the rare Rieslings that it does have that peachy taste to it. And it's so interesting. I wonder if that's because of the soil out here as well.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, and their vineyard is, it's amazing. And I'm sure Kathy will tell you all about it. But their vineyard is essentially on the biosphere land down below. So they're able to grow really excellent grapes there that we can't. And they're 2 kilometers away from us. So it just protects them. So when we're talking about terroir and about the ability to grow these grapes, we're lucky to have them. I'm lucky to have them have a surplus of fruit where we can, fill in a gap in our lineup of something that is like that. So it's a delicious product. I feel like people have been really responsive to it, and we made a good volume of it. And it is VQA Ontario. So, and affordable at our retail shop, $21.95. And I think it's a great expression of this area's Riesling.
I agree wholeheartedly. It's just, and it's so different from Niagara region, the Niagara region Rieslings.
Because you get more minerality and a little bit more.
You get a lot more citrus.
Yes,
There's a lot more of the lemony, but this is a completely different fruit feel to it. Like I said, peachy, and I've never had that in a Riesling before, which I'm really enjoying.
Nice, I like that.
And also the label makes me happy.
Yeah, it does.
With these 2 little smiling
too.
daisies, it's just like, and
yeah.
I have the killer song in my head.
Right. Well, and it's funny because I was a writer in a past life, I always say, quote unquote, past life. And the back label is always my favorite part to do of a label design. And I get to put in little sprinkles, little tidbits, little hidden moments on all of these. And so it's full of 70s slang on the back label, and people who get it will get it, and the people who don't get it just think I'm being nutty. But the people who get it, they're like, oh yeah, it is rad. I'm like, yeah, it is rad. You're right. Like it's fun and playful, and it gives us an opportunity to give the wine a little bit of a personality.
Mm-hmm. Well, it definitely has that because it has a personality on the taste and also on the bottle, and it's just so cute. Again, T-shirt. Just saying.
Right, I know.
Just saying. For your next wine, that would be really fantastic.
Right. Yes. Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah. So far, we're off to a great start here, Amanda.
Wonderful.
2 for 2.
Oh my goodness. So I'm pouring something really, truly quite special in the next glass. So this is a very different wine than you will have been used to having, and very different from the last wine we had. So this is our Chardonnay. What's unique about this product is we made a single barrel. worth of it. So when we're talking about that, that's 30-ish cases, all said and done. So I don't know that there's a ton of people investing in making a single barrel of Chardonnay in Ontario. But this is also new Canadian oak. So St. George, which is just over 100 kilometers from our farm to their farm, is the Canadian oak cooperage. There's not many in Canada, and it is a really unique product. In that Canadian oak, the barrels that they make, he occasionally will source wood from Norfolk County as well, which is really exciting. So theoretically, there is some Norfolk County wood in these Canadian oak barrels that are coopered in Canada. And then inside the barrel, we fill with grapes, Chardonnay grapes that are sourced from the Simcoe Research Station. So Simcoe Research Station, funded by OMAFRA, led by the University of Guelph in Simcoe, Ontario, is a research plot that is studying rootstock. And their goal is to make it easier to grow Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, which our Pinot Noir is also from that same vineyard. And it was led, I think, mostly by Helen Fisher, who just passed this year. So these are some of the last grapes that she got to touch, which is a major influencer in wine growing, viticulture in Ontario. So it's remarkable. And the Chardonnay grapes were grown there. And we were the lucky benefactors of those grapes, which I think is vastly because Nick is the Toast the Coast, our local beverage association president. And he's always spoken very highly of them and worked well with them, but also because we do keep it separate. So, other larger wineries might blend this into other things. But for us, we wanted to tell that story of these grapes this year in Canadian oak, an expression of local. So Canadian oak tends to give a little bit more tropical kind of notes. So I think you'll get a little bit of that coconut cream, like that type of vibe. And then there's this underlying savoriness from the oak and from the grapes that is really yummy. So I think of this wine as really a food pairing wine. I like to enjoy it with a piece of cheese. And I think that is the nicest, way to enjoy this wine, but the possibilities are endless. But I think it's such a special wine, very different than anything you will have had before.
It's got such a unique nose to it. I've never smelled a Chardonnay with this nose.
No. So
it's
you get
so
some
sweet.
It is, and you get
good.
A little of that sweetness, but you also, which is coming from the oak.
It's honestly, I have never smelled anything this sweet on a Chardonnay nose.
I know. And then also you get a little of that butteriness as well on the back end.
So amazing that it smells so sweet. And drops the minute you taste it.
Mm-hmm. And citrus on the acidity on the finish. Yeah.
But it's so full-bodied.
Great texture.
Really great texture. Very soft.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. It's such a special wine.
Really? And this is so interesting.
Right? It's an interesting wine. And I think that's what what it is in our lineup. Right? So we're coming from two glasses that are very easy drinking. You don't necessarily need to give them a whole lot of thought, right? You're not going to sit necessarily and swirl that off dry Riesling for hours. It's pretty, it's great, it's fresh, it's crisp.
You're just going to open it and chug it back.
Yeah,
because you're on a patio.
You're
on a patio, it's hot. You're like, just give me some more bright side.
Exactly, a nice, cool, crisp glass, right? This wine is something that tells a story. It is something that evolves with time. I can't wait to see. We've tucked a couple of cases of those 30 cases away to see how it evolves in bottle. But I think even just evolving in the glass when you have it open, see how it evolves over the course of an evening and coming back into that glass and what scents and aromas you were able to pick up on and how the flavor develops. I think it's such an interesting, complex wine. It's not for everybody, and that's okay, but it is going to be for someone, and that's who we made it for.
And I think that a lot of people would probably just smell this Chardonnay and think, I'm not going to drink it, it's going to be too sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But the nose is
deceiving. It's
really
sneaky.
deceiving.
Yes. Yeah, great acidity. I think that's one of the things that, to me, is always a tell of Nick's winemaking style, is bright acidity. Because we drink our wines mostly with food, so we want to have a little of that acidity. Plus, here at the winery, a lot of our tasting flights or a lot of our food or a lot of our consumption of those wines is on the patio where you're going to order a light snack. So we want it to have a little of acidity. And I think it's just his hand, like his style of winemaking just tends to have a little bit more of that freshness. And I note it throughout our portfolio, but it's especially evident, I think, on this Chardonnay.
But I think even on the Chardonnay, there is that little bit of peachiness as well. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's probably due to the terroir.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I think so
because
too.
If you're getting it from the Riesling, you're getting it from the Chardonnay.
Yeah, that's so true.
I'm wondering what we're going to get from the reds.
Right?
Hopefully
not peach.
Hopefully not peach, but But no, for the whites, it's not a bad thing to have. I think it gives it a very unique characteristic. And I keep wanting to go back to the Chardonnay because I think it's so complex. And it's just, it's so interesting.
It is.
And I love that I'm tasting something that nobody in Niagara has. And it's worth the trip to come out here.
It is.
And explore this area because, again, like you said, 3 wineries, bing, 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 on the same road. And then you can stay in this beautiful Airbnb.
Yes.
And it's a stunning location.
It's a great place to visit because there's so much to do. There's a ton of ecotourism in this area. Like we're really lucky just down the road to have Marshview as well. And they have like those glamping huts, tents and things. So it's a really great spot in the 2 provincial parks. So in summer season, it gets hopping. But it's equally lovely to come out here and visit in the off season because it's a little bit quieter and truthfully you get a little bit more of that one-on-one experience. In the fall, like our staff gets drastically cut back. So the chances of you actually speaking with someone who is a key stakeholder like myself at that time of year is, much higher. And what a unique tasting experience that is.
Yeah. And also, the fall foliage here would be stunning.
Right. Our spot is so lucky because we have that gorgeous Carolinian forest all along the back. And it just puts on a show in the fall. Like, it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous time to visit.
Nandor and I will come back, all right? Nandor and I will come back and visit, and I'll finally take you up on that overnight stay.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah,
we
will. We definitely will.
You should.
Now we're going to try something really cool.
We are. This is a fun one. So I wanted to pour some blueberry wine because it's probably my favorite party trick is pouring this blind for people. Because if you didn't know what it was and you had a nice light, huge red wine in your glass, you might look at that and go, that could be perhaps Pinot Noir, like a lighter vintage Pinot Noir. Yeah, maybe. And then on the nose, you smell it.
It doesn't smell like blueberries at all, which is funny because I thought I was going to get hit with a blueberry aroma right away.
If you dig for it, it's there. But I get a lot of floral, again, nice white floral notes. I get a little bit of that kind of white pepper spice element.
It is a little bit sweet, not a lot sweet, but it's, again, that full-bodied,
it's got texture.
It's got that softness that most of your wines have.
Yes, it's special. So this is 100% blueberries, all hand-picked, hand-sorted from our farm. And we treat it just like a grape wine. So it goes through the exact same processes as you would for a red wine. And it spends just under a year in a mix of old and new oak barrels. So some of that spice is coming from the oak, but blueberries naturally have really great acidity. And they have naturally occurring kind of baking spice notes, which is why they're so excellent in pie. Mm-hmm. And so a fun project for people is to try this blueberry wine because I think it opens a lot of eyes about what fruit wine can be.
Because it's not, most people think fruit wine and they think sickeningly sweet, cloyingly sweet, which my brother adores. But this is not cloyingly sweet. It's a little sweet on the tongue at the back, but it's got a lot of complexity to it.
It does, yes. And I think like you said, it blows people's minds because they assume all fruit wine is sweet. There's certainly fruit wine that is sweet. We do an iced blueberry wine here. That is a dessert style wine. That is meant to be that way. Lusher texture, more residual sugar, about half of what traditional ice wine is. So at least you have a break from that thanks to the blueberry acidity. But this definitely freak some people out, which is fun.
It's kind of a nice patio sipping
It is.
red because it's not too sweet, but on a hot day in the summer.
You could serve it chilled too, like you're saying. You could absolutely
that would be,
pop it in the fridge.
Yeah.
I also love this with sangria.
Add that to some bubbly.
Yeah.
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 Sangria would be great.
Sangria is great because I feel like a lot of times people try to make sangria and they start with a big, bold red wine and then they try to make it fruity, which doesn't make any sense. So if you start with something that's fruity, that has a little sweetness, but doesn't have that much, but at least it's providing a little of that fruitiness, and then you don't have to dump as much sugar or juice or whatever it might be into it. You can kind of, cut it with some soda, add a little bit of juice, some fresh fruit, and you're in a happy spot on a patio with that.
And if you want to add blueberries, I know where you can get some.
Yes. And I think the other thing is like, I love this with turkey because it does the same job as cranberry sauce, because it lightens and brightens everything on the table, right? Because traditionally at a Thanksgiving dinner, at least mine, everything is heavy and everything is covered in gravy and butter and richness. And this has a little of that fruitiness that does the same job as cranberry sauce. And it kind of lightens everything up.
But imagine if you were making cranberries and you put some of this in, and the taste would be so amazing.
It'd be delicious.
Because normally when I make my cranberries, I put some Grand Marnier in.
Ooh. All right, giddy up.
Yeah.
Love that for you.
Well, it's Martha Stewart's recipe, and she puts booze in everything.
The queen. She can do no wrong.
That's right. Because if you put booze in everything, your food is going to taste amazing. Yes, but this would be a really cool additive to
it would be.
cranberry.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea.
See, next year.
Yep.
This year, rather.
Yeah, wait.
It's not next year.
It'll come in soon.
It's coming soon. Coming soon
to Front Road Preserves. So then moving into our red wines. This is our Norfolk Pinot 2023. And when we're talking about that special Simcoe research station, this again came from that vineyard. We got a little bit more fruit off of it in 2023. So we were able to make, I think, 2 barrels worth of this wine. But again, not too many people making only 2 barrels worth of wine in Ontario. But the goal of that research station that we were kind of talking about before is to grow really great grapes, right? Make our lives theoretically a little easier. So they're trialing all these rootstocks that are more native to this area and different rootstocks that will allow Pinot Noir grapes, which are notorious for being finicky, to be able to grow more successfully year to year here. So that plot and that research is groundbreaking for us and important to us as an emerging wine region, but it's equally important down in Niagara, because if they do well with it here, it's going to make it even easier in Niagara to grow every year consistent, delicious Pinot Noir. And I think Pinot Noir is one of Ontario's finest grapes. I think it can make such a great statement. And if we're talking about grapes that are grown all across Ontario, Pinot Noir, I think, is definitely in the conversation of great grapes grown in Ontario. But sometimes it needs a little help every now and then, depending on the climate and what the Mother Nature's throwing at us. So really excellent work at that plot. And we were really lucky to be able to have those grapes to be able to make this wine from. So a VQA Ontario product for us. And again, Canadian oak. So Canadian oak and red wines, when we were talking about how Canadian oak and white wines tends to pull more of those tropical flavors and a little bit more coconut, can kind of have this reputation for pulling more savory, herbaceousness from red wine, which some people love and some people don't. But I think the thing about it is finding the right wine, the right grapes in the right year to put in the right barrel. So not just using all new Canadian oak and not throwing everything in your portfolio into Canadian oak, but we have found certain wines that we think are worthy of that. And I think that Pinot Noir is one of them. I think it is really delicious. This wine, for me, with a piece of salmon is like mind-blowingly good. And I just love that like pairing together. Also duck with like a cherry sauce. Ooh, yes, yummy with Pinot Noir from anywhere, truly. But I love it with this in particular. And so a lighter style red wine for us. And this is, I mean, Pinot Noir for us normally would settle in and around 12.5 to 13% alcohol. This is 14. So she's a big girl. She's a big girl. She's got some body and a more like interesting style of Pinot Noir that way.
It's very, again, it's continuing with Nick's softness of the whole like really, really soft on the palate and just goes down really easy. It's very drinkable. Like you could even not pair this with food and just open this up on the patio and drink it because it's not heavy, but it's not like a traditional Pinot.
Yes. Yeah.
There's something really interesting about it. But again, I'm so used to drinking Niagara Pinots. So to taste a Pinot from this area is really exciting and really different because you're taking into account the terroir is different here. And the Canadian, I've never had a Pinot in a Canadian oak, which is also really cool because it's giving it a whole nother complexity.
Different. Yeah, it absolutely is. Like Canadian oak, for us, it just made sense for our story, mostly because when we were thinking about it and talking about it, it was one of those things that's like, well, you know, we defer to French oak, but what do people like winemakers in France defer to? French oak. They're not going to use American oak or Hungarian oak. Like if you're in France making wine, you're going to use French oak. So why is it all of a sudden different because we're Canadian? Right? So to us, it just makes sense to use it, but finding the right products and the right ways to use it to allow that expression. And I think with the Pinot, it's a home run for me. I love that style. I agree. You don't necessarily need to sit down with some food for this. It's quite approachable and easy drinking. I'm interested to see what happens with it. This is a relatively new bottling, so probably been out for a month before we've tried it. It's just going to continue to evolve in the bottle. And we pulled some from our winemakers dinners a little while ago from 2021, I want to say. And just how that's already showing the evolution of it is really very
It's like an elbows up Pinot.
Yeah, it is truly.
You're like, grapes made in Canada, barrels in Canada, elbows up. And the label is really cool because I can see the rootstock.
Well, it's important for us, right? Because we're talking about, it's telling about stories. So that's what this Pinot Noir is about, is that rootstock and the development and the hard work that those researchers are doing. Because without that, like, we probably wouldn't have Pinot Noir. We probably wouldn't plant it. It would have died or will die when we have one bad winter. And then we're going to have to rip it out and replant it. And that costs a lot of money to continue to do. So we're grateful for their work. And we can't wait for the day that it's a little easier for us to grow.
Because it's such a beautiful grape. And
it is.
And it is a constant mantra when we've done the podcast in the Niagara region where people talk about how difficult Pinot is.
Yes.
And how many problems you can have with it because the skin is so thin and it just doesn't react well to so many different things.
So many different things.
But on the bright side, if you've got a crappy fall, you pick it early, so you're going to be
Yes, right. That is true.
You miss all that. But on the other hand, it's really cool what you're doing to make it work here.
Yeah, we're excited about it. And
I'm excited about this because it really is a very different but very inviting Pinot.
And it's a taste of a place.
Yeah.
For sure.
And isn't that what wine should be?
It should be.
You should be tasting that place in this bottle.
100%.
And it's a once in a lifetime thing.
It is. And we don't necessarily make this every year because, like I said, that comes from that research block. So one, that block in that research station needs to continue to have funding to be able to do what they're doing. But two, some years are more successful than others. So we've got like we said, we only had enough Chardonnay off of that block to get 1 barrel's worth. We've done 8 cases of this Pinot Noir before. Wow. 8 cases. What?
Yeah.
And people don't do that.
No.
But we do. Nick does, because that's how much he loves this project and how devoted he is and how crazy he is, truly.
But I think that says a lot about you guys as well, that you're willing to do that, to do a very small lot in order to help fund the region and to also like continue that research.
Well, and for us, a lot of that is also the fact that we want this area to become a DVA. And the only way to do that is to continue to make wines that are from a specific place.
What does DVA mean?
So DVA is a designated viticulture area.
That's kind of what I thought, but I wanted the listener to know.
Exactly, yeah. So under VQA tells us when we VQA something, so we send it to VQA, they test it for, safety concerns, but they also test it for flavor profile. So they're going to try it and go, yes, that Pinot Noir tastes like Pinot Noir. Check. Or, no, it doesn't. X. And then the other thing is that they're going to mandate is what you can put on the label. So as an emerging wine region, not as someone who's in Niagara Peninsula, we're not in Lake Erie North Shore, we're not in Prince Edward County. Yeah. So there's certain ones that are designated that you're allowed, if the grapes are all grown on that vineyard that's in Beamsville Bench, you could become a sub-appellation, right? We aren't even at appellation level yet. So all of our wines that are VQA and approved can put VQA Ontario, even though the grapes are all from Norfolk County. So one day, hopefully, we'll have having this conversation and we'll be able to put VQA, Norfolk County, VQA, because English and French, on the label of our wines that are grown entirely from Norfolk County.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it's a project. It takes lots of years because they want to see acreage. They want to see volume created from their approved grapes, of course, right? Doesn't matter if you grow something that's not on their list. That doesn't count. And I don't even know that hybrids count, which is a shame, truly. But I think it's one of those things that you've got to show to them that you have wines worthy of merit. And if you're just sitting here and we got, 8 cases of Pinot Noir and we just decided instead to put that into our Kindred Red, which is a blend, then we would never have something to show them 3 years later when we're having this conversation. So it's a pain in the butt to sit there and go, okay, we're going to make 8 cases of something. We're going to sell 5. We're going to set aside 3 for various projects. And we're going to earmark some of those bottles for when VQA comes back at us and we can say, this is what Norfolk County tastes like. And won't that be a spectacular tasting?
Yes.
I can't wait. Can't wait. One day.
Yeah, because I think Norfolk County is a little hidden gem.
It is.
Yeah.
And as long as we keep making wines that are tasting of a place, I think we'll get there.
Well,
One day.
Hey, listen, Niagara was, it started that way too.
100%.
So hopefully this podcast will help to bring people out here.
I hope so. And it's
to
also
know
just knowledge, right?
Yeah, and to know that, there's other areas to explore.
There is.
I mean, even just being in the bench, as opposed to Niagara on the Lake, it's hard to get people to come to the bench. So
I know.
But
even Prince Edward County, right? So even Prince Edward County, they're the newest appellation. They felt that, and we're 10 years behind them. So
it's gonna come.
It is. I hope
we're going to speed up the process with this podcast. Okay, we're going to make it happen.
You do it. So our last.
Hey, listen, I'm a woman with a mission.
Yeah, you are, girl. So our last bottle or sample today that we're going to try is this Kindred Red. So
beautiful color.
I love this product so much. So when we launched Kindred Red and Kindred White, so they're both blends, we wanted them to be our forward-facing, crowd pleaser style. They were going to do the heavy lifting for us, our largest volumes. We're going to try to put them in the LCBO. We're going to try to use them for special events like weddings. We're going to try to sell them to licensees and restaurants so that people can have an affordable VQA Ontario product on their wine list. So the price of this is $16.25.
Shut up.
VQA Ontario. It's stupid, honestly. We lose money. The white is $14.95. Available,
shut up.
Available in the LCBO. So if you are interested in these products and you want to shop at the LCBO, all you have to do is type in either Kindred or you can type in Front Road Cellars, and they'll both pop up. Kindred White, Kindred Red are approachable, crowd-pleasing style, white and red. So we thought about that. We thought, but we still have to be true to who we are as a winery. So we went into the cellar and we were like, okay, let's taste potential whites for the blend. And I said, the only way we can do this and it actually still be reflective of us is to ignore all the labels on the outside of all the tanks and in the barrels. And so we're not going to look at vintage and we're not going to look at grape, and we're just going to blend something that truly makes us happy and is better than the individual sum of those parts. And so we did. The first Kindred White we came out with was non-vintage because of that. This was years ago. Because of that, because it was from 2 different years. And that was a nightmare to try to explain to people. But at the same point in time, it didn't matter to us, because what mattered to us was that what was in the glass made us happy and was the best expression of those wines. And so that's always been our mandate. It's changed. So every time we release this wine, we get to play around and, again, ignore labels and sort of focus on what we want the end product to taste like. When we started describing that, I was like, what is it going to look like, though? And so this was a passion project for us, because I wanted the label to be reflective of that story that we were talking about. So not judging a book by its cover, essentially. And the way we did that was to do these gorgeous illustrations on the front of women. And each wine has 3 women, so 3 for the white, 3 for the red. We're able to tell a story of diversity. We're able to tell a story of womanhood and how awesome we are as women, and all the things that we put up with and deal with and are strong enough to conquer through. And then we're also able to say, there's 3 women on each of these bottles. Grab the one that represents you and that you feel like you'd want to share a glass with.
Oh my God, that's so smart.
But also, don't judge a book by the cover, because what's in the bottle is all the same. So it's a really great story for us. The illustrations that we're able to do, each vintage change. And it's important to me as a, white, straight, cis woman to be able to show faces of people who don't look like me. And people come into the winery all the time and they're like, oh my gosh, that's the first time I've seen someone put someone who looks like me on the label or who's speaking to me. And it's so interesting that we're able to do that in a way that's really exciting. And I think it has changed people's opinions of what we do, which is great. And they also are able to buy a bottle and it reminds them of their friend. Right? That reminds me of my friend Kathy, or my friend Amanda would love that. She looks like that when we went out last week. And so many people aren't speaking to people who, are biopic. And it was important for us to be able to reflect that. So we have all sorts of shapes and sizes and skin colors and hair colors. And it's fun for me to be able to come up with those illustrations and put them on a bottle. But I think our audience has a really great time reacting to them. And there are people who want to collect the whole set.
Yeah.
Which is so fun.
Knowing that story now makes me want to just buy a bottle of in every color, because
shade. Yeah.
It really does make your wine even more approachable.
Yeah, it does.
By the way, the nose on this is lovely.
It's great.
And again, we also have that softness, which I know now has to be terroir.
Yeah.
Because it's so relevant. I know Nandor, right? My dog is also barking. And
Nandor agrees.
Nandor approved.
Approves.
Right? Is this
so
Nandor
this is a
wine?
blend of Marquet and Cabernet Franc this time. That blend could change, right? So that's what's fun, is that we've done the inverse. So it's been more Cab Franc and less Marquet. We've had Marquet, Cab Franc, Cab Sauv before in their red blend. We've done Vidal and Riesling. We've done Lacage Riesling. We've done 8 million different things. So the result of the hard work that we do, it's a hard day at the office when we do all our blending trials.
Oh,
goodness.
It's such a life.
It's so tough. Is, something delicious, approachable, easy drinking style. It's got great color, medium bodied, medium tannin. That's what we're always kind of looking for the red. And for the white, we're looking for, a touch of sweetness. But again, that acidity that's really nice, and styles of wine that people are just gonna, sit, drink, enjoy.
It's a very drinkable wine where you could serve that sitting with your friends, on a patio, not worrying and going oh my God, I'm serving an $80 bottle of wine to people who don't get it.
Right.
Where you're serving a $16.95 bottle of wine to people who will appreciate it, and the diversity.
Yeah.
And the story behind the label is just so beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a project. We're passionate about it. And I think, everybody on our team knows that story and is so great to share it with people. And that's what the name Kindred came from, right? It's like kindred. It's a kindred soul, someone who's like you, someone who shares your same
kindred
heart.
spirits.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we want you to pour a glass and enjoy it with your kindred soul.
Well, I felt like that with you and
good.
with you guys when I met you the first time. Like we were kindred spirits.
Right.
And it was like so easy to come out here and chat with you. And I am just so happy that we did this podcast episode. Because it was really great to sit and talk with you in depth about the wines and the innovations that you're doing. And listener, you have to come out to this area.
Please do.
Because it's just a really delightful experience. It's completely different than any wines you'll get in Niagara. But it's also cool to open up your palate to different regions. And, you know, if you were going to France or Italy, the wines would taste different there. We're in Ontario and the wines will taste different in every region. So come on out here.
Come on out.
And have
explore.
a great time. And I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of our podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
It was a delight.
Excited.
And we will have photos of all the wines, photos of the area, and also links to your website on the show notes.
Yep.
I just want to say thank you so much. And listener, be sure to like and follow Spill the Wine on Instagram and Facebook. Also tell your friends, because we need more people to listen to the podcast and know how great Ontario wines are.
Heck yeah.
You know, we got elbows up here. Also, you can, if you have any suggestions, you can email us. We have a website now, which is spillthewine.ca. So you can email us at contact@spillthewine.ca, and we will happily get back to you, answer any questions that you have. We are so happy to be a part of this with you today. And I just want to say so much cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for your time. And listen to the next episode.